The funny thing about faith and fear, they both require you to believe in something you haven't seen. I'm encouraging you to have faith today that you can live out your passion, purpose, and calling. And more important than that, imagine all the people just waiting for you, just cheering for you, that you're going to serve through this business, through this venture, through this organization, through this endeavor, that are just waiting for you. Come on, you can hear them clapping and saying, don't give up, we need you. And if you think business is about being selfish, you got it all wrong. Business is not just about how much money can I make for myself, how much can I take for myself, but it's how much can I give. Entrepreneurship is a beautiful thing. It's how much can I give? How many people can I serve? How many lives can I transform? Woo! So let's dig into this. Let's talk about purpose.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Luke Martin. I'm the new Public Affairs Officer here at U.S. Embassy Belmopan in beautiful Belize, the Jewel. So happy to be here, and I'm really excited that this is my first program I get to kick off today. A lot of you on this call will already know Philip Harding. He was here back in 2019. He's got a great story. I mean, this is a guy who you could certainly see on the cover of every magazine, billionaire with products and innovations. And yet what he decided to do was really focus on the kind of impact that changes people and changes communities. And I love that. I love when we have dedicated, real, true visionary entrepreneurs like him that are like, how can we actually make a difference rather than just buying more super yachts? So I think that's a great way to really think about what Philip's doing. Is he's dedicated to making changes in people's lives and empowering people to do that. So here at the embassy, we're really excited about this because we know Belize is full of the entrepreneurial spirit. And talking with someone like Philip, he's going to have some good tips on what everybody can do to, like, what do you do to actualize your business? How do you move forward? How can you make a change in your community? And what's your vision? I'm just going to hand it over to Philip. I mean, this is why you guys came. Thanks so much for spending time with us today. I know you're a busy man. I know you got ties to Belize and you're happy to be here, but still, thanks so much for your sacrifice. And over to you, Philip.
Well, thank you so much, Luke. What a wonderful, warm introduction. And Monique, so happy to be back with you. Thank you for that trip down memory lane. That was so fun. We're going to talk about your story, your journey, your passion, purpose, and calling. Why get involved in entrepreneurship? Why entrepreneurship and business is so important to society, to the world, and important to you and your family and what you do with your daily life. We're going to talk about that. And I hope you leave today inspired, encouraged, and with some tools and connections that will help you. So if you're ready, let's see some X's in the chat. Are you all ready? You ready to get after this? I'm ready. Wendy's ready. I love it. You can do this. Entrepreneurship can feel lonely sometimes. Trying to find your place in the world, feeling that passion, that calling to more, that calling to adventure, that desire to do more in your community, in your world, to help your family, to help your community, to live out something. You just feel it deeper. Well, I'm going to tell you, you can. You can do this. And most people don't realize that you actually have more than you need. We're going to talk about what you have, how you can actually go to that next level, how you can scale up that business, increase your income, connect with more people, have more influence, and have a blast while you do it. It's fun. The adventure awaits you. And that's what it is. That's what this is. When you're living it out, it's a fun adventure. So let's get after it. Let's get after it. This is Impact Junkie. We're entrepreneurs and investors hooked on solving the biggest, hairiest, most audacious problems in the world. We start with your BHAP statement, your big, hairy, audacious problem, or your big, hairy, audacious purpose. We're going to talk about that today as well. And I hope you all join me today. You can go to impactjunkie.co. We'll talk more about this. But you really need this support network. You need the connections, you need the community. And this is what I wish I had when I was starting out, when I'm going on this journey, and I still need it today. Is this awesome network of like-minded people who are hooked on making a difference in the world and see entrepreneurship and as a sustainable solution to the world's biggest needs. And we're going to talk about that. But when you do make that commitment, how many can identify with this image? On the top, this is what we think it's going to feel like when we start out on this venture. That top image, just this nice little ride up to the finish line. No problem. Just a nice, smooth ride. But in reality, on the bottom, well, there's some valleys. Yeah, Brittany can relate. There's some valleys, some rivers, some mountains you got to climb. Some of the things you don't even know you're going to need, like a zip line or a ladder or an umbrella. Some of the things you don't even know you're going to need when you start this journey. This is what the entrepreneurial journey is like. But more than entrepreneur, I know some people say, well, I'm not a business person. I'm not an entrepreneur. If you don't say you're not identifying with that crowd, that's okay. But if you're going to push the limits, if you're going to do something meaningful with the limited days you have, this is what the journey is going to be like. You are entrepreneurial. Entrepreneurs are about solving problems for people, understanding needs, and adding value in other people's lives. So in order to do this, you relate. Did I see anybody else in the room relating to this? I've got some amens in the room already. We're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about how those valleys, the rocks, the mountains, the rivers that you go through are not actually the problem. Actually, in fact, this is how you go farther. This is how you live out the dream. We focus a lot on this circle, and this is one of the new workbooks. I'm so excited. You can get these as well, these printed workbooks. It's like a treasure chest. You can see the map on here to actually live out your journey, your passion, purpose, and calling. This is something I've been working on for the last 10 years. But on the back here, you see this circle. And this circle I'm showing here on the image, this is your journey. All of life can really be summed up into this circle. We're going to talk about this, how you jump into the unknown. You feel that call to adventure, but you hesitate. Uncertain in our own mind, fear and anxiety in our own mind that hold us back from taking that action and living out that best life. And more importantly, serving other people. We're going to talk about this circle a lot today. I'm going to talk about these three things: purpose, people, and perseverance. Purpose, people, and perseverance. These are three key elements. We're talking about igniting change through entrepreneurship, which is the awesome title of this event. These three things are vital. Igniting involves fire, and you got to light that fire, that purpose. We're going to start there. When you add up purpose, people, and perseverance, people, you're adding value into people's life, it equals payment. Payment is great. And it leads to profit. Profit. When people are receiving more value from your product or service, from the problem you are helping them solve, they're willing to pay more because you are bringing that value. And this is good. We're going to talk about how this is great, and this is how you can serve more people in a sustainable way, and how business and entrepreneurship is so key to this. And when it comes to impact, you see impact junkie, you think, oh, we just have to give away things and donations and these poor people, how could they make it, around the world? I'm just a sad case. But in fact, we're going to talk about how we bring sustainable solutions to those we love. You can do this. So by the end, we'll talk about how you can join. Even actually tomorrow, we have a live session with impact junkies all around the world. You can connect with purpose-driven entrepreneurs all across the U.S., all across from Asia, Africa, Central America, and join us. You can be part of this. Tomorrow, we actually have a live session. Make this commitment to yourself. Be a part of another like-minded community. Join me and others. I'll see you there. So let me back up a little bit before we jump into this. This is a beautiful moment in my life. I'm going to share some quick Belize stories. This is in southern Belize in Punta Gorda, working with some entrepreneurs down there. You can see we're working on their dreams on the board there with that Venn diagram. And I'm going to tell you this story a little bit later on about how this brings together purpose, people, and perseverance, and how this created a movement and how it's scaling from there. I'm also going to tell you about this picture of me wielding a machete and learning how to mow the grass. Let's see if this will play. You want to know how I got this machete? Yeah, that's it. So I got this machete. This is it right here. This is a machete, spending the night in the jungle in Belize with entrepreneurs in the middle of the night. And that's an amazing story. And they actually signed it here as well. The entrepreneurs that we worked with. I'm going to share a little bit of that story a little bit later. I'm not going to share it right now. Someone mentioned planes. Yeah, I love going on these little planes here. I love these flights across Belize. Oh yeah. And this is another moment we're doing in a workshop in Belize, working with entrepreneurs. This is my first machete purchase in my life, was in Belize. This is the night we spent in the jungle. Not only did we go deep into the rainforest, but we took coffee and marshmallows, roasted marshmallows, and we went to the source of the Columbia River, which was so cool, in the middle of the night, and survived to tell the tale. And how it created a movement, and partnering with the U.S. Embassy, Bell Trade, and SBDC and other partners in Belize has led to these amazing relationships, connections, friendships beyond just a one-time transaction, but lifelong friends. And as Monique mentioned, the Investment Summit, I was honored to be a part of that and be alongside the Prime Minister and other leaders there, focusing on opportunities across the region. And I'm excited. We have other business leaders and investors that are very excited to work more in Belize and build on that. I've also had great experiences like this in Belize. In Key Calker, this is one of my I actually posted this. This is one just another day at the office when you're living your dream, right? This is, you all get to live this every day. And on Key Calker, one of my favorite places in the world is Ice and Beans. So Ice and Beans is one of my favorite places. Monique was there, and they have this donut machine they've made over 1 million donuts on. And yeah, it's a beautiful setting with the palm trees and the beach. Oh my goodness, you all are blessed in Belize. But more than that, the people were so friendly and so wonderful to be with. When we had a business transaction, I bought the coffee. I received joy from this. I had a great experience. Our team had a great experience. And you said, thank you. I said, thank you. Thank you so much. That's how business should feel. Business should end in a feeling of thank you. This was such a wonderful experience. I enjoyed this so much. I would be happy to pay for more of this. And so when you're thinking about these ideas, as you're either launching a new business or scaling an existing business, you want to create this delight and joy for the people that you're serving. And that's what we're going to talk about with the people that you are here to serve. How can we add joy to their life and add this value to their life where they're happy and willing to pay? And at the same time, how can we expand that to bring more people into the story? We're going to talk about that. We'll talk about this moment here at Harvard where I gave the commencement speech in 2014 and talked about divine destiny and George Washington, who came to this very spot and took command of the troops. And I ended this speech by saying, let's go serve the world with passion. If you had showed me this picture a few years earlier, I wouldn't have believed it. I'm a first-generation college graduate, and in this picture, I have received my bachelor's degree, finished my master's degree, and I had felt a calling to government and being involved internationally with business and working with entrepreneurs, but I had no clue how to get there. I had no clue how Harvard worked. I was a long shot, and there I was, also elected university-wide student president in this photo, was selected as a presidential fellow to go work in the federal government in the US, from the White House to the Pentagon. And they just gave me a mic in this moment and said, talk. And I had to memorize the speech and deliver this with no notes. Then they put the former president, US president, next to me, and mayor of New York City, and Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul. And I had to deliver this speech. What a moment. What would you say in a moment like this? This is one of those circles we're going to talk about today. One of those circles of life. Life is really a series of these circles. And every time you go around the circle, you're growing, you're developing, you're building new capabilities, new skills, new relationships that are going to go with you to the next level of your journey. You're growing. You can do this. And you have more than you realize right now. We're going to talk about this today. You have more than you realize. And I went from that stage to that picture on the right of me acting like I'm not taking a selfie in the West Wing, in the Roosevelt room. They call it a stealthy, trying to be serious and act like I'm not super excited, crazy that I'm in the West Wing. And then do you see pictures in Uzbekistan and in Indianapolis at the Lucas Oil Stadium and there in Belize? And it's taken me this journey from stepping out from my comfort zone, from that, well, this is where I feel safe and I'm afraid what will happen if I step out? What if I do this? These entrepreneurial muscles kept getting strengthened. And more than that, when you stop and look, this is a photo of lives that were impacted just in January in 10 days on a tour we did in Honduras with the U.S. Embassy in Honduras, focusing on entrepreneurship and business owners. These are just a sample of some of the photos of lives that were impacted. And I look at these photos of people over the last 7 years that would not be in my story if I would have just stayed in my comfortable place. If I had just stayed in that known, at the top of that circle, if I just stayed in that place where I felt like I'm safe, and what will happen, the fear that slips into our mind, what if I do this? What if I step out? What will people think? The funny thing about faith and fear, they both require you to believe in something you haven't seen. I'm encouraging you to have faith today that you can live out your passion, purpose, and calling. And more important than that, imagine all the people just waiting for you, just cheering for you, that you're going to serve through this business, through this venture, through this organization, through this endeavor, that are just waiting for you. Come on, you can hear them clapping and saying, don't give up, we need you. And if you think business is about being selfish, you got it all wrong. Business is not just about how much money can I make for myself, how much can I take for myself, but it's how much can I give. Entrepreneurship is a beautiful thing. It's how much can I give? How many people can I serve? How many lives can I transform? Woo! So let's dig into this. Let's talk about purpose. I'm seeing some X's in the chat. I love that. Yes. Let's talk about that first part, the purpose. What are you here to solve? Most people don't know. Most people don't know what they want their life to look like. People have a general idea. I'd like to have more money. I'd like to be more successful. I'd like to travel. I'd like to do these things, but have you written it down? Have you gotten a pen and paper and actually written it down? What's the number you would like to see? How many lives would you want to be impacting on a weekly basis? Where would you like to go? What would you like your family to look like? When you think about fitness, what do you want your fitness to look like? Your fitness, your faith, your family, your fun, your finance. Have you actually written it down? Do you actually know where you're headed? Let's take a look at this number, 29,000. 29,000. This represents, if you live to be 80 years old, this is about how many days you have on this planet. Does that look like a lot of days or not very many days? It looks like less days the more I live. 29,000. Yeah, less days. But then you've got to subtract all these days. Right off the bat, a third of the days of your life for sleep, almost 4,000 for work, over 3,000 chores and errands, eating, drinking, education, TV, social media, and my goodness, over a year of your life using the restroom. I know a lot of you are going to be thinking about that later today. And then you add all of those up and subtract them, and you're left with about 5,000 days. Look at that number, 5,000 days. Suddenly that 29,000 looks even smaller. But here's the secret. What if you didn't have to subtract all of those days from the meaningful days of your life? What if you didn't have to subtract all of your work and education from the meaningful days of your life? Even the errands and the chores and when you eat and drink, and even how you interact on social media, and even while you're sleeping. What if you have entrepreneurial ventures and other teams you're working with around the world? Well, guess what? You can do that. It's an amazing time to be alive. And with entrepreneurship and business, it allows you to add these days back in to the meaningful days of your life. See, what happens is most people spend about 80% of their life doing something that feels disconnected from their purpose, from their calling, their true calling. And then they say, well, as soon as I clock out and I'm done with that, then I'll do something meaningful in the world. When you're tired, when you have no energy, you have nothing left, well, then I'll give something. How are you supposed to give your best work? But what if you could shape your life? And I'm here to say again, you can shape your life to not just have that 20% go toward meaningful days of your life, but you can shape your life. And every day that you wake up, living out that passion, purpose, and calling, you can do it. And that's where it starts. Before you jump into designing logos, business cards, and a website and say, we're going to launch this business, make sure that this is where you want to spend your life. This is what you are here on this planet to solve and the people you are here to serve. You don't have to just go through life miserable and struggling. You can wake up every day. There's two ways you can wake up. I've heard you can wake up and say, good morning, God. Or you can say, good God morning. Right? There's two ways you can approach life. You can wake up every morning excited about what you're doing. This is really what I'm here to do. This is what fires me up. I know without a doubt, this is my passion. This is my purpose. Or you can wake up every day dreading life. Take that action. And in fact, this is the best life. The best life, serving the people you're here to serve. Living out your purpose every day you can. And so let's talk practically. How do we do this? Well, one of the exercises we start with, all Impact Junkies, we start with is you. It starts with you. Before we go into understanding the needs, and let alone before we jump into launching solutions and business ideas, we first need to understand our own journey, understand the chapters of our life. That's the first exercise we start with. We write a letter to ourselves, a lot of self-reflection and understanding what have you been through? What are the chapters? What has brought you to where you are? Think about how this life was designed. This world is built so that we can't understand the future, but we can understand and remember the past. We need to value the past, learn from that to help guide us into the future. We have this map, both the beautiful days, the painful days, everything we've been through on this journey has brought us to where we are. We have Impact Junkies who are working on, former addiction. They've lost a family member. Widows who are helping other widows. Former incarcerated, people who've served in prison are now helping others as well. You can do this. Who are you here to serve? Yes, you can. And so that's what we're going to talk about next. We're going to go to the people. So once you understand your purpose, and I mentioned this briefly, we don't have time today to go through this, but join and you can go through this. We spend weeks just on this. 15 weeks you can spend. It's an ongoing journey, but this is your big, hairy, audacious purpose statement, your BAP statement. I help who to what, because, my why. You're going to fill in these blanks. Work on this tonight. Fill in the who, the what, and my why. Be clear and specific about this. And that my why is going to be filled in from the chapters of your life, both the painful days and the beautiful days. Not just, well, I've been through this painful experience so I can help other people who've experienced it. Yes, you can. And I really love travel. I love fishing. I love car racing. I love biking. I love hiking. Anything you love, you can combine that as well to entrepreneurship to live out your purpose. It's the best life. It's the best life. So when you think about the big problems in the world, there are a lot of big problems. You can look, my goodness, you don't have to look very far. 800 million people don't have access to clean water. Billions don't have access to clean sanitation. Millions live without shelter. Billions live without a bank account or access to basic financial services on this same planet. Billions of people live without electricity. And over 120 people die every day from suicide in the United States alone. There's no shortage of big, hairy problems for you to get excited about, for you to be passionate about. But what is yours? What is your story? What has led you to where you are? And when you're faced with these realities and you experience these, whether around the world or in your own neighborhood, you can be overwhelmed. We say there's 3 ways you can respond. One is you can spiral in depression, which we hope you do not do. Hope you don't do that. 2 is you can just block it out and go on with life. Or 3, you can say, I'm going to do something. And in fact, you realize you can be the solution. And the problem is not really the problem. Maybe the problem is us realizing that we can step up to be the solution. So do you really understand what you've been given? We say do more with what you've been given in this life, the painful days, the beautiful days, the passion that you've been given. Let that guide you forward. Life is too short to be doing something that you feel miserable with every day. Start shaping your life right now. And through entrepreneurship, you can do this in a sustainable way to live out the life you feel called to live. You can serve the people you feel called to serve. So where to begin? Well, there's this great book called Toxic Charity. And so often when it comes to these big needs in the world, first our mind goes to, well, we just need to give a donation or a one-time gift, or we'll just give our leftovers or an extra pair of shoes or what have you. But one great line from that book is when we do for those in need what they have the capacity to do for themselves, we disempower them. You could actually be disempowering the very people that you love, that you're here to serve. You could actually be hurting them. At the very best, you could be doing something that's not helpful, which is just a waste of everyone's time. That's best case. Worst case, you could actually be hurting them. If you bring in a truckload of free shoes to a community that has a few small shoe companies that are trying to start, what's going to happen to those shoe companies? You could actually put them out of business. You could kill them by your loving heart and giving these donations, right? And there's many other examples we can go through, but we need to turn on our entrepreneurial brains. It's time to turn on our entrepreneurial brains and come up with sustainable solutions together. You may have heard this phrase, give a person a fish, you feed them for a day, teach them how to fish, you feed them for a lifetime. Well, that's great, teaching them how to fish, but what happens when they fish all the fish out of the lake and they come back saying, hey, we need more money or we need more help because now we don't have any more fish? Well, don't just stop there. Empower and invest in them. Empower. Oh, I'm seeing a lot of X's in the chat. I'm liking this. empower and invest in them, help them buy the lake, start a fish hatchery, start a chain of fishing restaurants, start selling fishing licenses to the community. Come on. Influence national policy, start a professional fish network. Oh, I'm seeing a lot of X's. Oh, come on. This is my group. Y'all are on fire. And build a fish entrepreneur training network across the country. That's the power of business and entrepreneurship. These are the principles that allow us to unlock human potential. And that's the motto of Impact Junkie. That's what we always say, creating opportunities to maximize all human potential. Inside of you and inside of the people you're here to serve lies a spark, a fire. Talk about igniting change through entrepreneurship. There's a spark that exists inside of you, a fire that exists inside of you just waiting to be lit. Catch on fire, and then it spreads, and it can be stopped. That's the power of entrepreneurship. Don't try to create dependency. Don't say, well, maybe it makes me feel good. I'll give you a one-time gift. But let's do more than that. Let's turn on our entrepreneurial brains. Let's empower those that we're here to serve. Ignite that fire. And sometimes we see impact on one side of the wall and business on this other side of the wall. And, well, we move a little closer sometimes. We say, no, the impact over here, the charities and the ministry and the missions and charity and all this is good. And there are a lot of good things. And there are emergency situations where we need aid, no doubt. But sometimes we say, well, business, it's still business. You stay over on that side of the fence and you just make the money. You're the greedy, it's just greed and money, but it's not really helping people. Then you throw the money over the fence and we help the people. We've got to change that mindset, and it is changing. Back to the origins of what business is really all about. And we need to have purpose-driven entrepreneurs. That's what we do. That's why we get together. That's why Impact Junkie exists. This has been my personal journey. This is what I wanted when I was getting started. It's hard. It's difficult sometimes for sure, but it's fun when you're doing it with other people that you're here to serve with, that are thinking the same way, that are living it out the same way, and are trying to find these sustainable solutions to help even more. If you really want to feel good about the work that you're doing, think about how can I bring sustainable impact and sustainable change into the world. So go to impactjunkie.co, philipharding.com, sign up right now, run and do it, because this is the community you need. The network of people will work together and do this together. We have a session tomorrow. But this is what we got to do. We got to redefine entrepreneurship and business. Go back to the origins of what it's all about. At the heart of it, entrepreneurship is about understanding the needs of the people we're here to serve and bringing value to them, bringing solutions to those needs. That's what it's all about. It's not just about greed and money and I'm going to take as much as I can for myself. Nope, that's not what it's all about. It's actually about how can I help as many people as possible with what I've been given. Look at this. This is actually my Impact Junkie cup right here, okay? I got some tea tonight in this afternoon. If you look at this cup and it's full of this water or tea or coffee, and I take a drink out of it, that seems like less for you, right? There's only so much here in this cup, and I just took a drink. That was so good, and now there's less for you. I got it, you didn't get it. That's for some reason, some mindset that has come up around business, and it's supported a lot in culture. That business is just about greed and taking, and take as much as you can and run and hide. But in fact, when you see entrepreneurship, the free market and business, it's actually adding more and making the cup bigger. It's making it infinitely bigger because you're actually putting more in. You're not taking it out. Oh, come on. We got some flying X's in the room. You're not taking away, you're actually adding more. You're making it bigger. You're adding more value for everyone. We're all succeeding. We're all growing. Belize is getting bigger. Our country is getting bigger. Our community is getting better. It's stronger. We can have trade together. We can work together. We serve one another. We help each other. That's what you can do through business. Ooh. If you do a one-time transaction, a one-way gift, yes, it's nice. And gifts are great. I love gifts. That's fantastic. But if we limit our impact in the world to just a one-time, one-way gift, think of what you could do when you turn on your entrepreneurial, your business brain and go after these complex challenges that exist in your world. And you start bringing other people together and you scale it into a movement. Woo! That's the power of entrepreneurship and business and thinking this way. I don't have time to talk about the moon. I don't have time, but this is the farthest photo we have of planet Earth. There's 8 billion people right now. This is taken by one of the Voyagers. They turned around and took this last photo of Earth. It's the farthest one we have. That little speck, I don't know if you can make it out on the screen. That little speck is planet Earth. Everyone who's ever lived or is alive now is on that little dot. You can impact that dot. You can influence that dot. In fact, there are all these people waiting for you. The most unselfish thing you could do is start a business, is be an entrepreneur. One of the most selfish things you could do is keep that idea inside of you and not help other people and just stay in your comfortable little spot. If you really want to change the world, if you want to do something selfless and unselfish and selfless, if you really want to help people, why would you keep all of that you have to offer the world to yourself? Come on. So let's talk about people. I'm going to keep moving. Who are you here to serve? There are a specific group of people you are here to serve. You have experiences that other people don't have. You have passion. When you combine your unique set of passion and your unique set of experiences and put that together, it aligns with a big group of people on this planet that are just waiting for you to step up. Do you know who that is? Let me tell you this quick story. Woo, I'm loving these comments in the chat. You all are getting me fired up. Talk about igniting change. So this wonderful story starts in southern Belize, in the villages down there. You all know this. I've told this story around the world, and I love telling it in Belize because this is where it happened. And I love that you all know these places. You fly in, you drive down, and you'll meet people like this. This is Marcos and Elfina and their daughter. Wonderful. They reached out to us on behalf of 5 different villages in southern Belize and said, can you help us with some business training and help us invest, help us with ideas on how we can unleash this creativity, help the people in our villages and our community. They're working in the faith community as well with churches. How can we spread this? How can we think more like entrepreneurs and bring these business ways of thinking into our community? So we said, well, we'll come down, and we did some training. This was our very first session down in Punta Gorda. And when we stopped, we were actually working on chicken farms, which was the first idea they had, which is great. And while we paused, Elfina stopped to make us food. And here she is making us rice and beans, like my favorite ice and beans coffee shop. And we noticed that she was making these awesome bands, which you probably have seen. And we said, Elfina, this is really cool. Could you make it like an Impact Junkie X? Do like a prototype of that? She said, I think so. The next morning we came back. This was the prototype, the black and white here. I love how she's doing it. Total entrepreneur style, no shoes, no problem. She's just going for it, like going for it. And we said, well, what if we help market these, offer these to Impact Junkies and help you kind of launch this off the ground? What do you think of starting a business around this idea? There's a lot of people that would want these. And she said, absolutely, let's do it. This was her first sale. And then 5 months later, we came back, and what do you think we found? Boom! Impact Junkie bands everywhere. And Elfina had not only done this for herself, but she had empowered others all across the villages. And it had scaled into this movement. And my favorite photo is Elfina with a stack of cash and this big smile. And this grew. It grew. the movement. This is what happens when you understand the people you're here to serve and you're going after it with passion and purpose. This is what I'm here to do. This is something I have. This is experience I have. I can connect this with this group of people. It starts to spread. And there we are putting their dreams up on the board. We went to celebrate. She got her first cell phone as part of her business so she could communicate. There's a video, which I don't have time to share, but the story doesn't just end here. The story continues on. You heard Monique talk about that Belize Investment Summit. Well, we had been working with them down in the villages, and actually they came up. They bust up and came to this session that we had outside of Belize City. And here we are with entrepreneurs all across the country. And here is Marcos and Ophelia front and center with the U.S. Embassy, Beltrade, all the partners there in the country, entrepreneurs. We brought entrepreneurs and investors from the U.S., and we had this amazing event. They were right there front and center. And not just that, but because of understanding your passion, your purpose, connecting your dots, and bringing together the people you're here to serve, she got up and spoke at this event. The assistant to the prime minister was there and said, "This is so inspiring. Would you come speak at an event to all women entrepreneurs across the country?" Woo! Talk about making it a movement. Talk about making it a movement. And this is a great photo of us doing a selfie here. I love this story, but one of the best things, later that night, we were having another event with the embassy. Marcos and I shared a hotel room, and he was so excited that night. He could not go to sleep. I had a rollaway bed that they brought into the hotel, and I was sleeping, and I said, "Marcos, you have my bed." He was asleep, trying to sleep, and he couldn't go to sleep. He kept saying, "But Philip, I have this other idea. I have another idea. We could do this business, and we could do something else, and we could connect these people, and we could do this." And I said, "Okay, Marcos, it's great. It's really great. Let's talk about it tomorrow. I'm really tired." And we wait for a second. And he said, "But I have another idea. I have another idea. What if we..." And he would continue on with another idea. And I said, Marcos, this is great, but I'm so tired." He was on fire. The fire had caught. And he said the most beautiful thing that I've ever heard in my life. He said these words. He said, "Philip, you've changed the way we think." That means a lot. That means more than anything. There's no way I could just give a one-time donation and say, "Okay, good luck. Have a good life." What if we could invest and empower people with the tools and support, build relationships with them, see the fire catch, then see it catch again, and then they are empowered to go catch fire with other people. Woo! Come on. Oh, we got some flying X's in the chat. And so we want to see business as good. The most selfless thing you can do is start a business, is be thinking like an entrepreneur. If you want to impact lives in your community, in your world, it's going to happen by working with other people. You live out your dream by helping other people live out their dream. I have a challenge for you. I challenge you to come up with a business that is purely selfish. I challenge you to come up with a business that serves no one other than you. And you make money and you live happily ever after with piles of money everywhere. I cannot think of one. And I've asked this many times at many different events. No one can think of a business that is purely selfish, that doesn't involve adding value to other people. Any business you can think of is about, how can I serve other people? How can I meet their needs? How can I add value into their life? How can I help them solve these big problems in their world? Business can't really be selfish. If you're doing it right, business is about understanding the needs of the people you're here to serve and serving them. My goodness. I hope you all connect with me on social media, connect with me on Instagram, connect with me on Facebook, connect with me on YouTube. We're working on starting a new YouTube channel with more of these kinds of videos. If you love it, please go to @PhilipHarding. It'd be great to have you all subscribe. We've had it for years, but we've not done anything with it. We'd love to have you join. Connect on one of those socials. Go to Impact Junkie, join right now, make an investment in yourself. There's a lot of free content. but also I challenge, it's $25 for you to every month get weekly live support, coaching, resources, videos, everything you need. Come join us and connect with other IJs. If you're going to live this journey out, you're going to need to be around other people who are thinking the same way, acting the same way. I invite you into this story. So this is the circle we focus on a lot, and we go through in these workbooks, like I mentioned. You start here at the top. You feel this call to adventure, this call to the unknown. And typically a guide comes into the story like me saying, come on, you can do it. And you say, oh, I'm not sure. I'm a little afraid. Don't be afraid. You can do this. I've been through this. I've been around the circle a few times and I've emerged a better person. You can do it. And then you get to the edge, you tiptoe to the edge. That's that horizontal line right there. You tiptoe to the edge and then you jump into the unknown. When you jump into the unknown, it's a lot bigger down there. That's a bigger space. That unknown's a lot bigger than the known up on the top. When you jump into the unknown, that's where all these miraculous things happen. These unexplainable things that seem impossible start to happen. That's when you see yourself in these moments, like those stages I showed you earlier. Those sessions I showed you earlier, those moments when you jump into the unknown. You have to jump into the unknown. You have to overcome that fear to see the miracles happen. And when you do jump in, you suddenly start to see these new characters come into your story. And you have all these challenges, and your first idea is probably not going to work, and you're going to try something else, and you're going to iterate, and you're not going to give up. Why are you not going to give up? Because it's rooted in your purpose. So that fire deeper inside of you, it's not just about getting the money. It's not just about the money. It's about something more. When you get down to the bottom, you're going to have this opportunity to pivot, go back to where it was safe, retreat, or you're going to have the opportunity to persevere and continue on around the circle. And if you continue around and you come around the top of the circle again, you're going to come out as a new person, emerge as a new character in this story, back to the known, but it's a new known. It's not the same place. And guess what? You're a new person as well. And even better than that, you emerge with all these new characters. People like me, people like the other people on this meeting tonight, people you haven't even met yet that are cheering for you, they're waiting for you. You have partners, investors, friends, customers, users that are just waiting for you, and you emerge with all of this, and then you're ready to do it again. And you're ready to go up higher, up the mountain. You're going up the mountain even higher. So let's talk about our last note here as we wrap up, and we're going to go into a Q&A. Woo! I love the X's. Come on. Up we go. Come on, Brittany. Yes. So let's talk about this last one, perseverance. We talked about purpose, people. Now we're talking about perseverance. What will you do next? Let's look back at this image we showed at the beginning of this talk. That top version looks really nice, doesn't it? If that's in our mind, that's what we think is going to happen, just this nice, gentle ride up to the finish line. But in fact, if you zoom in on that bottom image, if you zoom in where the bicycle is, that's actually what the top is. It's just that first little hill. And if you stick with your idea, that top plan where you're comfortable, where you have everything figured out, everything is known, you have no idea what you're missing out on. Because in your mind, you're thinking, if I can just get to the top of this hill, that's the end, that's the finish. But there is so much more waiting for you. There are so many more people waiting for you. There's so much more opportunity waiting for you when you go out into the unknown on this entrepreneurial dream. And as you go through this, you're going to face some rocks. You're going to face some valleys. You're going to face some rivers. And that's great, because that's actually how you get stronger. That's how you get better. That's how you get ready so that you can go up the mountain, so you can get to that top finish line up there at the top. You see that flag? That's something you couldn't have even imagined when you started this. I showed you that Harvard stage. I showed you those images earlier. I couldn't even have imagined those when I started out on this journey. Being here with you tonight, I was getting ready. We were doing the sound check and I'm thinking, how cool is this? What a journey this is that I get to be here and do this tonight with these amazing people. There are things, there are flags, there are finish lines up ahead on this journey that you haven't even seen yet, that you can't even imagine yet. If you just stay where it's known, stay in this comfortable place. And guess what? You also are going to be on a bicycle. You're thinking, I'm just going to ride this all the way through. I'm telling you what has got you to where you are is not going to get you to where you need to go. You're going to have to grow. You're going to have to develop. You're going to have to get strengthened by other people as you go on this journey. If you look at this image, you didn't even realize you're going to need a boat at some point. You're going to need you're going to need to hang glide. You're going to need a zip line. You're going to need a ladder. You don't even know what you need yet until you get going on the journey. That's part of the fun. You can prepare and you can plan and you can be intentional, but that's not going to get you where you need to go up the mountain. Woo! I love the X's and snaps. I'm feeling it tonight, y'all. You are giving me some good energy. Look at this, the startup curve. Anybody seen this before? You've seen this before? So this is excitement, right? Before the startup, it's like level happiness. Then you launch this idea. Okay, let's go for it. Initial enthusiasm off the charts. Oh, it's so exciting, right? It's an exciting idea. And then the reality sets in. Reality sets in and that trough of sorrow drops. You hit that trough of sorrow. Boop, this is it. There's no going on from here. What was I thinking? This is ridiculous, right? And then you start this experimenting and pivoting. You don't stop at the trough of sorrow. That's where you have to go. You have to go through the valley. You have to go through that. I want to encourage you today that your first idea is not going to work. And that's okay. Your first idea is not going to work. If it does work, well, hopefully you learn. You're going to learn at some point, I could have done that better. I could have done it a different way. If you're constantly pushing the boundary, your first idea is not going to work. Give yourself some freedom. But when you hit that trough of sorrow, when you're thinking about this, you're going into this venture knowing that it's probably not going to work right out of the gate like you intended. You're on a bicycle going up a little hill, but there's going to be a lot more. You're going to go way up this mountain. So you got to be ready for that. So the trough of sorrow is not really a trough of sorrow. This was made by Paul Graham. It's kind of a funny drawing. He's trying to be humorous. Like, it is tough being an entrepreneur. It can be tough. But it's actually how you get strengthened on the journey. When you go through this trough, when you hit those points, you're expecting it. And this is how you get better. And when you hit this low moment, that's all the more reason you need the people with you. And most importantly, you need to be identifying your purpose and understanding no matter what happens. See, the people who are just in it for the money, the people who are just like, hey, and I don't think they're on this call tonight, but the people who just came for the money, like, I'm just going to make a bunch of money and take as much as I can. I'm going to get as much as I can out of the cup. For me, that's when you hit that, what's called the trough of sorrow here, or you hit that first little valley here, that's when they drop out. That's when they don't keep going. That's why people say it's so hard. But when you are driven, purpose-driven entrepreneur, it's rooted in your life. It's about something more than just this business. In fact, the business is a subset of your bigger life purpose. The business is great. It helps you sustain the dream. It helps you sustain the passion, purpose, and calling. But that's not you. That's not your calling. The business is just a part of that. And so you may have to iterate. You may have to experiment. You may have to change. You're going to have to connect with other people and expand your network. And you're going to pivot and experience, and you're going to see the wiggles. Woo, I love the wiggles. You're going to start seeing those wiggles in the line. And you're going to start seeing, hey, this is actually working better. My first idea was terrible. What was I thinking? That was never going to help people the way I thought it was going to be. That was actually hurting the people, or that was not right. That was too hard. This is a much better way. And in fact, that is the journey. That's how you get to that scale. And that's how you get off the charts. And you go up that line with all these new people, these new experiences, and then you're ready to go around the circle again. So if you want the people, you want the network and the support, I want to work with you. I'd love to see you tomorrow. We have a live session. If you join today, we'll get you on the live session. Would love to have you. Would love to have you on social media, connect, try to stay plugged into everything we're doing. Would love to hear your story. Please send me an email, send me an update on what you're doing, the work that you're doing. Join us, be part of this movement. Let me just say a couple last words here, and then we're going to go into Q&A. Your beliefs shape your actions become your reality, and your new reality becomes your story. And then you repeat. This can work for you or against you. The thoughts that you have in your own mind, the thoughts that you tell yourself shape your beliefs. They become beliefs. Belief of the fear that I can't do this, the fear that I'm not good enough, that I'm not smart enough, that I don't have what I need. I need more capital. I need more funding. You have more than you realize. It's the story you tell yourself. And sometimes it's excuses we make to hold ourselves back, and that shapes your actions. But if on the flip side, if you start with that statement we talked about in purpose, your purpose statement, and what do you really want to do? What is the number that you're going for? What are the number of people? Being intentional, crazy intentional with your thoughts, and you repeat that every day, that shapes your actions, and then your actions become your reality. The power of your mind. And I'm not trying to be, this is like this weird, just this weird mind thing. But there is power in your thoughts. There's power in your words. When you keep thinking that you're not good enough, or you think you are good enough, or you are that, you're going to become that, because it's going to shape your actions. Your actions are going to become your reality, and your reality is going to become the story that you look back on, and that's going to help you as you go on in the story. So it's a repeating circle. It's a repeating cycle. Keep going around the circle. See life as just a series of circles. It's not just a one line. It's a series of these circles. You may be in a phase right now where you're getting ready to go up to your next level. Maybe you just jumped off and you just started this new venture, and we're trying to figure out, how do we do more? How do I impact more? Go connect with more people. Go get connected with more people. Go test with more people. Try more things. Have the spirit of experimentation, and let that shape your story. Woo! I love it. I love it. 3 things lastly that hold us back, that the adventurous entrepreneurs, I believe you're an adventurous, purpose-driven entrepreneur. Mistakes that hold us back and how to avoid them. Number 1, seeing these trials as holding you back. Seeing these difficult things as something that is holding you back. But in fact, those are the very thing perhaps that you are here to do on earth with the limited days that you have. The difficult days, those trials that you've been through, maybe the very thing you're here to serve, the very thing that have shaped you to bring you to where you are. No one else can do it quite like you. Yes, you can. And in fact, these trials on those valleys, the rivers, it's not a bug in the system. It's a feature. They're actually a feature of life. It's a feature of this system. They're actually built in to help you go to your next level. Number 2, we're not connected to enough people. Go out and connect to more people. Expand your network. Expand your community. Go meet more people in your country, in your community. Go connect with people who are thinking like you. Go work with people who have overlapping businesses or have parallel ideas. Don't see them as competition. See them as an opportunity to work together to expand the cup, right? You don't have to have competition ever. You have a unique calling that is yours and a unique assignment that's yours. And number 3, I see mistakes that entrepreneurs make is they're not looking to add value to others. Instead of, what can I get? How can I take from this? How can I get? Go into conversations with people seeking to add value. How can I help you? How can I serve you? What do you need? And naturally, that's going to help you get to the next level. Keep going on up. Keep going on up. This is a wonderful journey. This is a wonderful experience. I'm so glad you are here. Let me just say some words over you, and then we'll open up for Q&A. If you're typing in your questions, would love to have a discussion with you all. I do believe the power of words and that your life can change through the power of words and what someone can speak over you. If someone speaks doom and gloom over you, says you can't do it, you're not good enough, you're going to start to believe it. But we're talking about the words and the thoughts we put into us. I'm going to speak these words. Number one, you have something you are meant to solve on this planet. You have people you are meant to serve. You are the one who can do it like no one else. And you are a leader. And all of these people are just waiting for you to step up. What are you going to do next? Imagine all the faces, all these characters. Imagine if I just stayed in my original known at the top of the circle, I wouldn't have seen had all these experiences that have helped me live out my dream. And I would have been able to help all these other people live out their dream. Think of all the people just waiting for you to step up. You can do this. You can do this. Let's go do it together. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, U.S. Embassy, Beltrade. And thank you all for being here live. I'm loving the energy. Woo! Let's keep it going.
Bill, thank you. That was super awesome. Thanks for being inspiring. Couple questions for you. There was one early on. You mentioned these new workbooks that you were coming out with, and they wanted to know, how do we get those? Is that by signing up as an Impact Junkie, or how do they get those?
That's a great question. Yeah, sign up as an Impact Junkie. But we also, if you scroll down, this is a new edition, and this is the guide that we go through. These are a fresh new edition that just went out. You can find it on impactjunkie.co as well if you scroll down. And we go through these in our 90-day cycles. We have separate member groups as well as the weekly live sessions where we go through these 90-day sprints and you connect with other people and work on your project together. So thank you for that question. Yes, short answer is go to impactjunkie.co.
Thank you. A question came in through another channel. The person asked, so what's a piece of advice you would tell your 22-year-old self?
Wow.
Or 18-year-old self or 21. You pick the age, yeah.
Yeah, that was just last year. No, just kidding. I would want to hear what I just said, honestly. Everything that I just poured out of my heart and soul is what I would have wanted to have heard. 22. Yeah, I think not being afraid so much, enjoying the moment more, and looking back at it now. Well, it's only been, a few years since, over a decade. And I'm thinking, the challenge is seeing those as opportunities and features in the system and not as bugs, and having peace in that, and having peace in that calling to keep me going. And I think that's what I would wanted to hear. And probably buy Tesla stock or something like that. I don't know, but
we don't know what we don't know, right?
Another I just shared is what I would have told myself. Absolutely
right. Here's another question that came in. It was, person is saying, I want to become an entrepreneur and make an impact, but I don't know what I'm good at. Where do I start?
Excellent. And as I said, we have a 15-week course I work on just on this topic. It's a big topic. Where to start? And that's why on the framework that we go through, it starts with you. And there's four modules that we go through in all the Impact Junkie programs, and it starts with you. So first, what I would say is go back. You can't understand the future, but you can understand the past. You can understand things that you're passionate about, that you love doing. What would you do? There's the standard, like, what would you do if you had a free day? I had no work to do or nothing. I could just do whatever I wanted to do. What would I spend my time doing? That's probably a good signal that's something you love doing. The chapters of your life exercise is one that we do in the first module that I talked about, and really reflecting on the journey that you've been on and putting your life into these chapters and giving them titles. You start to see themes emerge. These are things I'm really passionate about. These are things that I've been through, that I know Like a lot of people out there are trying to do things they know nothing about. Do something that you know about that no one else can take from you. It also gives you a lot of confidence and feeling like, well, I'm trying to be like, I'm acting like I'm talking about something and trying to help people with something I don't really know. But when it's something you've been through, whether it's a painful experience or you know how to sell this type of product, or you know how to make coffee, or you know how to farm, whatever it is that you're passionate about, that you know about, go that path. Like start with that, something that you know. And then go talk to other people. Other people want to help you. And this is in our journey when we get together with Impact Junkies. What we do is you don't just write your chapter titles and then keep it in a alone to yourself. You share it with other people and you say, hey, look at my chapters. What do you see here? And talk to your family, talk to friends, people who know you, but even just people that don't know you that well. And they'll start to say, you know what? I see this theme here. This looks like something you're very passionate about. It keeps coming up. And you say, wow, I never even thought that way. I never saw that before. So do a lot of self-reflection, do a lot of sharing with other people. And that continues on throughout your entrepreneurial journey. Get comfortable sharing like an idea that's not fully formed, putting it out there and getting feedback. That is the most valuable skill you can have as an entrepreneur in an organization, in an existing company, or if you're starting something brand new from scratch, is getting feedback and getting comfortable with that. And then third, I would say, start to look for opportunities to combine things you love. So if you love hiking, or you love, if you love going out in the jungles, if you love coffee and you love helping young people or former inmates or whatever it is, these different things, try smashing them together and see what happens. I love entrepreneurship. I love traveling. I love business. I love a lot of these things have come together in my life, and I get to do this with my time. So those are some three tips I would give you if you're just starting out. There's a lot more to say, but that'll get you on your way.
Thanks, Philip.
Great question.
So we have a question about marketing strategies. You might be able to do two questions still. This question is, what are some of the most effective marketing strategies for you? What do you found helpful?
Most powerful, of course, word of mouth is going to be your most powerful. Building meaningful and authentic relationships with people, start there. There's so much noise and social media, so busy, things are flashing, trying to grab your attention. If you build these meaningful relationships and you really know, this is in the second module, the love people phase, we focus a lot on empathy. If you get to the point where you understand your target, who you're here to serve so well that you can just whisper. You don't have to yell and scream and flash and say, buy me, sign up, come here, do this thing. You can just whisper. And they say, wow, he or she, they really get me. They understand me. And they'll come running, they'll line up. So spend more time focusing on understanding who it is that you're really here to serve. The empathy exercises we do are really key to that as well. And getting inside of the head, what are they doing? Where are they going? What are they thinking? What are they seeing? A lot of people, like I could just say, text messaging or emails or buy Facebook ads. Like I could give you all this, but it doesn't matter if that's not your target audience. If that's not the people you're here to serve, they may never be on Facebook. They may never read their email. They may need a phone call. It all depends on understanding really that niche and that customer, the user that you're here to serve, understanding them so well, where they are, what they need, even before they think about it. Like, wow, they just get me so well. They understand me. So I would spend more time focusing on that. And then that will lead you to where they are, the channels to meet them. It may need to be in person. It may be virtual. They may be too busy, so you may need a WhatsApp group. There's all kinds of it depends on, and we have all different kinds of things we do based on different groups that we work with. We have high net worth investors that have large businesses that we work with. They're extremely busy. Time is limited. They're traveling. Forcing an in-person meeting every week is very difficult for that specific group. but it may be very different from someone who's just starting out their entrepreneurial journey and they're hungry and they're saying, please, I need support. I need a lot of feedback. I need the coaching and the help. We have a different way we work with that group. So getting to know who it is you're serving, that will help lead you to the right marketing strategy too. I hope that helps you.
Yeah, that's really helpful. So we have a few more questions. I think at this point, because we're kind of coming to time, I'm going to encourage these people to come to your website, ask some of these. Some are specifically about, what they can do with their ideas. Sounds like they are looking for a community they can kind of engage with, which is what you're offering. So that would be great. But we don't want to take more of your time right now. Phil, this is really fantastic. And I think obviously it's a part of an ongoing conversation and your ongoing story here in Belize. And I like that we're seeing where you've been and you're coming through and there's something still ahead. I think it'll include many of the people that are here too. So thank you for your time, for the inspiration. And for those of you whose questions, some really awesome questions came in right at the end. Check out the impactjunkie.co website and see if you can pose those there and get some answers. And you guys work with each other to answer these as well. What a great community. Thank you, Philip.